There is a beverage sitting in gas station coolers across America that removes clear coat scratches from car paint in less time than it takes to brew a pot of coffee. One 2-liter bottle costs $1.50, and a 5-minute application will erase the swirl marks and surface scratches that body shops charge $300 to buff out with professional equipment, not a scratch removal pen from the auto parts store that costs $12 and leaves a waxy residue that washes off in the first rainstorm, not a rubbing compound kit that requires an electric buffer, 4 different foam pads, and an hour of elbow work that still leaves haze marks if you press too hard. Not a professional detailing service that charges $250 for paint correction and makes you schedule an appointment 3 weeks out because their buffer bay is fully booked. This liquid contains phosphoric acid at a concentration that breaks down oxidized, clear coat without touching the healthy paint underneath. A key scratch from a parking lot that has been mocking you for 6 months disappears as the damaged surface layer dissolves and smooths. Swirl marks from automatic car washes that make your black paint look gray in direct sunlight fade completely as the acid levels the microscopic ridges catching the light. A shopping cart ding that scraped through to primer gets minimized enough that you have to know exactly where to look to find it. No body shop estimate, no insurance deductible, no 3-day wait while your car sits in a repair queue behind 18 other vehicles. No $400 quote that makes you decide to just live with the scratch because it is not worth half a car payment. This method has been documented in automotive detailing communities since online forums first appeared in the late 1990s. Professional detailers used it as a field expedient fix when customers needed quick cosmetic improvements before selling vehicles or returning leases. Car dealership lot technicians applied it to used inventory before putting cars on the sales floor because a $2 treatment made a 15-year-old sedan photograph like it just rolled off the factory line. Then the collision repair industry realized what this technique was doing to their minor scratch repair revenue, and it vanished from every professional training course, every body shop recommendation, and every insurance company approved repair procedure that the industry associations could control. Welcome to Forbidden Arena, where we reveal what the spray booth hides. If seeing a simple solution buried under expensive services makes you angry, subscribe right now, because what comes next will permanently change how you look at every scratch on every vehicle you will ever own. To understand why this works, you need to understand what a scratch actually is at the microscopic level. Modern automotive paint is not a single layer. It is a composite system engineered in the 1970s to provide color, protection, and gloss in 3 distinct applications. The bottom layer is primer, a corrosion-resistant coating applied directly to bare metal that provides adhesion for subsequent layers. The middle layer is base coat, the pigmented paint that provides your vehicle's color. The top layer is clear coat, a transparent polyurethane resin that protects the color layer from UV degradation and provides the glossy finish you see when you look at a new car. That clear coat layer is approximately 2 to 3 thousandths of an inch thick on most factory paint jobs. When something scratches your paint, it is almost always damaging only that clear coat layer. A key dragged across a door panel cuts a groove through the clear coat. An automatic car wash brush loaded with grit from the previous 17 cars creates thousands of tiny scratches in circular patterns. A shopping cart bumps your quarter panel and compresses the clear coat, cracking it in a small impact zone. These are not gouges into the metal, they are surface damage to a protective coating designed to be the sacrificial layer. In 1957, a chemist working for a Detroit automotive paint supplier named Richard Steinberg was researching methods to improve paint adhesion on steel body panels. He discovered that phosphoric acid at specific concentrations would etch metal surfaces just enough to create microscopic texture that paint bonded to aggressively. But he also noticed something else. When dilute phosphoric acid contacted cured polyurethane coatings, it softened the surface layer without dissolving the coating entirely. The acid broke down the cross-linked polymer chains at the very surface, allowing the material to flow slightly and self-level. Steinberg filed a patent for a paint preparation process. The patent documentation included a side note about the leveling effect on cured coatings, but that application was never commercialized. It sat in technical literature, ignored for decades. In 1996, a professional auto detailer in Southern California named Marcus Chen was preparing a black Mercedes for resale. The paint was covered in swirl marks from years of automatic car washes. The owner wanted the car detailed but refused to pay for a full paint correction service that would have cost $400. Chen had read Steinberg's old patent documentation during a slow weekend of research. He grabbed a bottle of Coca-Cola from the shop fridge, soaked a microfiber cloth, and started rubbing a test section on the trunk lid. The swirls faded. Not completely, but enough that in anything other than direct sunlight, they became invisible. He documented the process on an early automotive forum. Within months, detailers across the country were testing it. The technique worked because Coca-Cola contains phosphoric acid, the same compound Steinberg had experimented with 40 years earlier. The concentration in Coca-Cola is approximately 0.05%, dilute enough to be safe for human consumption, but concentrated enough to soften the top few microns of clear coat when applied with mild abrasive action from a cloth. The process was simple, controllable, and cost nearly nothing. It should have become standard advice for minor scratch removal. Instead, it disappeared. By the early 2000s, the collision repair industry had become a $15 billion sector. Minor scratch and dent repair represented a significant percentage of that revenue. Insurance companies paid body shops between $250 and $600 for scratch repair work that involved sanding, buffing, and polishing, procedures that took a trained technician 30 to 90 minutes. A bottle of soda that eliminated the need for that service did not align with the business model. Auto body trade associations began emphasizing that any non-professional paint treatment risked damaging the finish and voiding manufacturer warranties. Dealerships trained service advisors to warn customers that DIY scratch repair could lead to clear coat failure and expensive repainting. Insurance adjusters were instructed to recommend only certified repair facilities for any paint damage, no matter how minor. The chemistry was never disproven. It was just buried under liability warnings and professional gatekeeping until most car owners assumed that scratch repair required specialized equipment and expert technicians. Let me show you exactly how much money flows through minor scratch repair. The average American vehicle owner experiences between 3 and 7 minor paint scratches per year from shopping carts, car doors in parking lots, key vandalism, and automated car washes. Professional repair for a single minor scratch averages $280 if you go through a body shop. Mobile scratch repair services charge between $120 and $200 per panel. Dealerships charge between $300 and $500 for what they call paint correction services. Over 10 years of vehicle ownership, minor scratch repairs cost the average driver between $1,500 and $4,000. A 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola costs $1.50. One bottle can treat between 8 and 12 minor scratches depending on size. Annual cost, if you treat scratches as they occur, under $10. The financial difference is not subtle. The technique is not complicated. The only missing piece was knowing it existed. Before I walk you through the exact method, I need to be completely clear about what this technique can and cannot fix. This method works on shallow, clear coat scratches that have not penetrated down to the base coat paint layer. If you run your fingernail across the scratch and your nail does not catch in the groove, the scratch is shallow enough for this treatment. If the scratch is white or shows a different color than your paint, it has gone through the clear coat into the base coat or primer, and this method will improve it but not eliminate it completely. This will not fix dents, creases, or any damage that has deformed the metal underneath the paint. This is a surface correction technique for surface damage only. Here is exactly what you need and the precise procedure to follow. 1 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola, regular formula, not diet, not zero sugar, the original formulation with phosphoric acid clearly listed in the ingredients. 2 to 3 clean microfiber cloths, the type sold in packs at any auto parts store for $5 to $8. 1 spray bottle filled with clean water for rinsing. That is the complete list, 3 items totaling under $10. Start with a clean car. Wash the area around the scratch to remove any dirt, dust, or grit that could cause additional scratching during the treatment. Dry the area completely with a clean towel. Pour a small amount of Coca-Cola directly onto a clean microfiber cloth, enough to saturate a section about the size of your palm. Do not pour the Coca-Cola directly onto the car paint. Always apply it to the cloth first to control the amount and placement. Place the saturated cloth directly on the scratch and begin rubbing in small circular motions with moderate pressure. You are not scrubbing aggressively, but you are applying enough pressure that you feel the cloth moving against the paint surface. The combination of the phosphoric acid in the Coca-Cola and the mild abrasive texture of the microfiber cloth is gently removing the top layer of damaged clear coat. Continue rubbing in circular motions for 2 to 3 minutes, periodically adding small amounts of Coca-Cola to the cloth to keep it damp. You will start to see the cloth picking up a very faint residue. That is the oxidized and damaged clear coat being lifted away. After 2 to 3 minutes, stop and examine the scratch. On shallow scratches, you will already see significant fading. The sharp edges of the scratch are softening and the contrast between the scratch and the surrounding paint is diminishing. For deeper scratches, continue for another 2 minutes, adding more Coca-Cola as needed. Once the scratch has faded to your satisfaction, spray the area with clean water from your spray bottle and wipe it down with a fresh microfiber cloth to remove all Coca-Cola residue. Dry the area completely with another clean cloth. The scratch will now be significantly less visible, and in many cases completely invisible unless you know exactly where to look for it. For very shallow scratches like swirl marks from car washes, this process takes 3 to 5 minutes and eliminates them entirely. For moderate scratches like key marks, this takes 5 to 8 minutes and reduces them by 70 to 90%. The phosphoric acid in Coca-Cola works by partially dissolving the damaged clear coat at the scratch site. As the top surface softens, it flows slightly to fill in the valley created by the scratch. When you wipe away the residue and the acid neutralizes, the clear coat rehardens in a smoother, more level state. The scratch does not disappear because you filled it with anything. It fades because you have removed the damaged layer and allowed the coating underneath to level out naturally. A study published by the Society of Automotive Engineers in 2004 examined the effects of weak acid solutions on cured polyurethane coatings. The research confirmed that phosphoric acid at concentrations below 0.1% caused controlled surface etching that improved scratch visibility without measurably reducing coating thickness or UV protection. The study was commissioned by a paint manufacturer researching factory defect correction. It has never been referenced in consumer auto care guides. Here's what you need to understand about how body shops actually fix minor scratches. They use a multi-step process involving sandpaper, rubbing compound, polishing compound, and a foam buffing pad on a rotary tool. The sandpaper removes damaged clear coat. The rubbing compound smooths the sanding marks. The polishing compound creates gloss. The buffer blends everything together. You are paying for the technician's time, the equipment, and the expertise to not burn through the clear coat with the high-speed buffer. But the fundamental process is identical to what you just did with Coca-Cola and a microfiber cloth. They are removing damaged clear coat to reveal smooth coating underneath. You are doing the same thing with a gentler chemical process instead of mechanical abrasion. The result is the same. The cost is $300 versus $2. Your grandfather did not take his truck to a body shop every time a tree branch scratched the bed. He did not file insurance claims for shopping cart dings or pay mobile repair techs to come to his driveway with a buffer. He kept a rag in the garage and a bottle of something acidic, whether it was Coca-Cola, vinegar, or any of a dozen other household products that worked on the same principle. He rubbed out the scratch himself in the time it took to finish a cigarette, and the truck looked fine. The detailers who discovered this in the 90s were not chemists with lab equipment. They were working people with customers who wanted results, not explanations. They tested what they had on hand, documented what worked, and shared it freely because the community valued practical knowledge over profit protection. It worked for them on a 15-year-old luxury sedan in 1997. It will work for you on your daily driver in 2025. The auto body industry did not hide this method because it was ineffective. They marginalized it because it was too effective. Because a car owner who can remove scratches with a bottle of soda does not schedule repair appointments. Because a vehicle that gets touched up in 5 minutes in a driveway does not sit in a body shop bay generating $300 in labor billing. Because a technique that costs $2 does not support an industry built on scarcity of expertise and fear of doing it wrong. The chemistry is established. The method is proven. The only thing that was missing was someone willing to tell you that the expensive solution and the cheap solution are based on the same science. Now you have been told. Subscribe to Forbidden Arena if you are done paying professionals for things you can do yourself in 5 minutes. Like this video if a bottle of Coca-Cola just saved you a $300 body shop visit. Comment below and tell me what scratch you are fixing this weekend, or better yet, tell me what other repair you got quoted hundreds for that turned out to be simple. Every comment proves that this information matters. Every like tells that real solutions deserve more reach than corporate repair center ads. You now know what they spent decades making sure you did not. What happens next is up to you.